Hello everyone and welcome back to my Intro to Unreal Engine 4 tutorial series. In this video I'm going to cover how to use Unreal Engine's foliage system so we can put down a quick forest or a nature scene. So we've used this tab, which has most of our normal choices. We've used the landscape tab, which we did a basic looking landscape. Now we're going to try the foliage. To use foliage, you're going to need some models. So they should be static meshes that we're going to add here. There's a bunch of free ones on the marketplace. So if you open up your marketplace, in the Epic Launcher would be the best way to go. Go to free and then go to permanently free. And there should be plenty of stuff. Oh, this is it actually. So in this one, I'm just using and temperate. I think both of these, the forest and the ferns, but you can pick whatever you want. I'm just going to show you how this system works. So actually, here's the trees, and I think I picked one of these, the ferns. Choices you have, the more realistic and natural your stuff will look. So once you do pick one, you would say, okay, download it, and then it would go to the library, and then you would just simply say add to project. Once it section, how long it's taking, once it's done, it'll pop into your project, and you'll see a new folder down here under the content section. So in my case, I have these two new folders. We don't really care about the blueprints and the maps or any of that, but we do want to just use their meshes. So you can just a little tip, you can go to filters and do static mesh, and that'll filter out just the static meshes from the folder you have selected, which is kind of nice. And then we're just going to drag the ones that you want to use into here. So bear in mind, some of these might take, oh, I guess mine already preloaded, but when you're doing it, it's going to take a second for them to load up shape. So grab some that you like. I mean, if you want, you can grab them all. You can click the first one, hold shift, and click the last one. Depending on your computer, you might want to take it one at a time or something. But if you drag them all in there and it doesn't explode, then you're good. So these are all the ferns. Just if we can we can do the ferns first, maybe. And I know, like I said, this doesn't look great. I'll go over all the tricks to make it look good. We're just trying to learn the systems. Let's find a little open spot. Okay, so it's the same as the landscape where you have a brush size, density, and then I guess erase density. That's about it. There's not a fall off for this one, so it's kind of all or nothing. And whew, you can see, careful with the density. So that'll crash a lot of computers. I would start with something like 0.05. You know, even that's pretty thick. That's too thick, probably. So this is the overall density. Let me point that out. This is the overall density, and then each individual mesh has its own density. Let's open this up. So this might be too many to learn from. Let me remove most of them. Okay, so the overall density is, let's say, 1, which is going to make this really pretty. Probably too dense, right? Let's get some trees in here so I can up a little better. I have some trees already loaded up. This one comes with some nice winter ones, which is I think what I wanted to use for my other game, but I'll just do a couple trees for now. So you can either hold control or hold shift and click and it'll select everything in between. Or you can like click and hold control and just choose a few that you want and then plop those in there. Again, it might take a little while to. So you can see when you hover over each of these foliage types or individual models that we have, there's checkboxes so we can turn them on and off. Again, you can do the technique where you click one, hold shift, and click the other, and it'll turn them all off or something, or the inverse. So in this case, I'll just say we'll just practice with one fern and one tree. So they're that's what you get. Whoa. Whatever that is. So in that case, we are going to want to drop, for sure, at least we want to select the tree and individually just change the density here. Let's put that at like, I mean, you might as well start low and work your way back up, let's say. So that's not terrible. That means, and then the bush has 100. That's one tree for every roughly 100 plants. Might not be the ratio you want, but that's something you work out. I mean, more like 1 to 20. And as you paint around, it seems to make more sense. Obviously, you'd want to do multiple different, but so you can also do them at the same time if you wanted to do like, it says multiple values, but we can all change them to the same value now. So now all the trees that I selected are plants are full 100. Actually, I guess I should do 1. Maybe let's do 2. And then I'll turn them all back on and we can see how this kind of looks. Still too much. Okay, and then if it's too much of everything, you can turn down the overall density here. Getting closer. So it's a lot of just playing with the numbers until you're happy with some sort of forest. And then you're going to want to go down to the regular level too. And again, I would add more assets. So grab some grasses, some flowers, some rocks. There's plenty of that in the marketplace. And the more stuff you add, these even come with nice little animations. The more different variations you add, like some dead trees, the better off you are. You can also go in there and you can use the foliage system, which kind of lumps everything into one giant, what do they call it again? Not landscape. It just lumps it into this giant instanced foliage actor. So Unreal can read it a lot faster. But you can go in there individually. So they're all selected. And you can go in and just drop in like a tree if you want. Manually. So when you're getting down like into a level where you're actually kind of trying to make it look legitimate, you're going to have to go in and do some manual placement of these things. Again, some of these take a while to load up. On that note, let me show you though, I guess I didn't cover. So say I want to get rid of stuff. Let's say I just want to get rid of all the ferns. I can turn off all of my trees. So I just have the ferns selected now. And just hold shift. Shift is the eraser brush. So regular click makes it, and shift removes it. And you can do that. So if I wanted to, let's see if we like do all of these, and I just want to remove this one type of tree. I guess that's the only one. Oh. Gives you pretty good control over what you're doing. And I guess the last thing I wanted to show about this system is kind of like the slope and the variations of it. So let's go with the trees again. Just do all the trees, I guess. If you dig down into some of the settings over here, if you hover over it, its little tooltip shows you what everything is. The align angle. So the maximum angle in degrees that foliage instances will be adjusted away from vertical. The ground slope angle. So this is the one I check first. This is checking like if a tree's growing out of, let's just try it. See, trees don't really grow like that, right? Like sideways, out of a mountain. So you can change the minimum slope is 0, the max slope. You don't want to maybe 15 or something. So when I'm painting here, they'll kind of only, they'll only snap to places that it is less than 15-degree angle. So I'm not going to have a tree, at the top of Mount Everest sticking out sideways. Unless I did something outrageous like this, then we have sideways trees. So that is, it's definitely helpful, especially once you start taking your time and doing these larger naturescapes and stuff. It really makes your job easier because you don't have to go in there and try to figure out where trees would necessarily naturally grow. It's just hitting the bulk parts of it. Again, you're gonna have to go in and manually adjust. You can do the same with the foliage, whatever, set it up. Foliage can kind of grow anywhere though. Ooh, that looks bad from way up here. Be careful though. Be careful how much stuff you put down. This is what I see a lot of, is people just go bananas, and then you'll see like tens of thousands. I had a student with like 100 or 200,000 trees in a very small level. It's not needed. Only use it if you need it, and generally your levels will be, depending on the game, not so massive. So sometimes you don't even need the foliage tool. You can just manually place it, but it is a time saver for larger stuff. And once you set up all the variables that you like, or the ratios of the densities, and I guess the angles, anything else, you can also change like the height. So we could say negative. You can change some of these that. Whoops. I don't want to change the height of the ferns. I want to change the height of the trees maybe. So it's kind of a randomizing. Let's see. Smaller ones, you get bigger ones of the same model. I guess that's not a good example. Let me turn everything off and just use one tree. So here's one tree. It's not randomizing great, but you can also randomize the angle of the pitch. I'm not sure what these units are in, but I mean, you can see they are different sizes. There might be some clamps or some. But yeah, dig into all the different settings. Random yaw, that means if it's like kind of spun around, definitely leave that on. So yeah, so the vertical, so they always try to point straight up. You can have them where they point, like you could change this to 10 or something. They don't always have to point straight up. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is going to be tweaking around till you like it. And yeah, it's pretty simple. It's really satisfying if you have some time and you want to make a nice little nature level. Have fun. In the future, I'm going to do one where I spend more time and actually make complete. I might even just keep working from this later. But hopefully that was helpful to you guys. In the next one, we're going to cover, I think it's vertex painting, so we can kind of do the same thing we did with the landscape painting of different textures, but on 3D meshes. So, alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.